Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, a safe place for leading with your heart. Hey, thanks for being here. You, Me, Empathy is the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective, a collaborative mental health community designed to empower each of us to grow our capacity for empathy, vulnerability, and emotional wayfinding. Just a friendly reminder that this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. No one is just a silly boy with a feely heart. You can support the show by leaving a review in Apple Podcasts, following us on social media at Yumi Empathy and Feely Human, and joining the Feely Human Collective community at feelyhuman.co. And now your host, Known Wells.
Hello, Feely Humans. Welcome to another episode of Yumi Empathy. My name is Known Wells, and this is episode 148, Military Spouses, Bipolar Disorder, and Manga with Jordin McGrath. Jordin is a very talented and wonderful Feely Human and artist, and in this episode we talk about emotional distress and anxiety of being a military spouse, why we can't get all we need in life from our partners, distractions versus doing the inner work, managing the highs and lows of bipolar disorder, and finding healing and community in art. Hope you enjoy the episode. Give Jordin a follow on Instagram. She's at ONE, O-N-E, 3, the number 3, YEDNEKO. That's at 1, 3, YEDNEKO. I'll make sure to include that link in the show notes. Before we get to the episode, though, I wanted to remind you, if you haven't left a review for Yumi Empathy in Apple Podcasts, please do. It does help out the show. I know I say it all the time, but I put lots of effort into the show. It comes out every week. I sometimes get discouraged because it feels like, I don't know, maybe I'm being overly sensitive, but it just feels like no one cares. I know you care, though, and that's just my weird sensitivities. But I just I don't know, help me out. Leave reviews. I love seeing them. It does remind me that people are listening and caring. And if you haven't left a review, please do so. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just doing too much right now. I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm feeling this sort of sensitivity and maybe defensiveness that gosh, I put so much effort into this and no one seems to be listening or caring. That's how I feel. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm glad you're here, and I'm so grateful you're listening. That's what I'll say. Also, please, if you haven't and you want to leave a voicemail for the show, and I'll talk about it on the show, you can. The number's 949-346-4563. Again, that's 949-346-4563. Yeah, give me a call. Ask me a question. Share how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you. And I guess the last thing I'll say is join the Feely Human Collective at feelyhuman.co. Go join the newsletter. We're looking for new writers. If you want to write in the journal, always looking for new writers. Take my Feely Human 101 workshop. It's free. It's 2 weeks of just all the feels. And I put a lot of work into that. I hope you enjoy that. And check out the shop. There's lots of great stuff in the shop. And I've got some fun things coming soon to the shop. So check that out as well. And, vote. Vote with your heart. Voting is an act of empathy. Vote for empathy is what I say. And also Black Lives Matter, okay? Thank you for listening. I love you. Please leave a review for Yumi Empathy. It'll make me feel maybe a little bit better. Okay. Enjoy this episode. Episode 148 with artist Jordin McGrath.
Empathy.
Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective. On this show, we explore the struggles, the triumphs, the brights, and the darks we face as humans trying to get by on this wondrous and overwhelming pale blue dot. The intent of You, Me, Empathy is to talk openly, without judgment, about our mental health, our neuroses, our shared anxieties and worries, to create a dialogue that is vulnerable and deeply human and empathetic, and to share that dialogue with others to inspire emotional and cognitive collaboration and insight so we can, hand in hand, break down the stigma that make us feel shame and guilt for struggling, for feeling our feelings, for being feely humans. You, Me, Empathy is a safe, friendly space designed to inspire the beauty in each of us. Today, I'm grateful to be in this safe, feely space with artist and fellow fantasy fan, Jordin. Hello, Jordin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. To be perfectly upfront, I'm a little tired. I haven't been sleeping very well the past couple of days, and I could be anxiety, could be something else. Sometimes it's just hard to know.
Yeah. I ended up sleeping like garbage for about 3 months because my husband was deployed. It's like getting an average of like 5 or 6 hours a night, and that's not good for somebody with bipolar disorder.
Right. Yeah, sleep is, you hear it top to bottom every day. Sleep is so essential for our health and mental health. And I think we somehow still maybe take it for granted. We think we can beat the system in some way. But the reality is, we need to sleep. We need it. Otherwise we'll die.
Yep.
It's like water. Yeah.
Is it like more important than water?
Maybe.
I think.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just know that like I watch, survival shows, and I know that like you can go, I don't know, a day without water. And maybe
I'm not sure if it's like a day or 3, or if it's like a day or 3 for. I think
it could
3
be
days for sleep. I don't know. It's important.
Anyways, it's very important. To be clear, if you are listening and you don't know sleep is important, welcome. Sleep is a thing, and you should do it because you're a human.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start off doing an emotional check-in, as we always do. How are you feeling, Jordin?
Better now that my husband told me he's been home for about a week, and
good.
My sleep has gotten better as a result too. I'm finally getting like 8-9 hours. So I think with sleeping better, my emotional status is also more stable. There's the constant lingering anxiety of the pandemic, like leaving my house for anything. And because he just got back from deployment, he's currently quarantined. So for any errands, groceries, or whatever, I have to leave the house. And that's nerve-wracking every time I have to do it.
Yeah.
I think aside from that, I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
How is so where are you abouts?
I am in Arizona, living on a military base.
Okay. And what is the coronavirus situation like in Arizona?
Constantly going up. So I live in like the very southern part of Arizona, Yuma, and lately Arizona as a whole has been getting more and more cases, but Yuma has been skyrocketing too. We were pretty relatively unscathed before, but now it's like, hey, coronavirus is here. And it's just, not as many people are dying, thankfully, but there are constant cases all the time now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's similar to California. We, and where I'm at in Orange County, there's, more and more cases every day. It seems like it is on the rise, and it's frustrating, it's upsetting. It's a thing that impacts everyone. And I think there are certain groups of people, for whatever reason, like maybe doesn't think about the big picture, doesn't think about how their actions impact others. And that's hard. That's hard to take sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how does it so your husband is in the military.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to get into details of like what he does or anything, but I'm curious about.
I don't know anyway, really.
Okay, there we go. It's off the table. I'm curious about just, you said it, like your sleep is impacted, your mental health is impacted when he's gone. And it's so understandable. Like how do you two navigate that as a couple in terms of like, I mean, it's kind of like a long-term or not long-term, long distance relationship in a way, right? Like
yeah,
he goes off, you're away for a while. How do you guys talk about that? How do you guys talk in relation to like each of your sort of respective mental health, and how do you take care of yourself during these times? Like I'm fascinated by that.
Well, for starters, he is he's basically the opposite of me. So like my moods can be kind of erratic and I have a lot of anxiety, mental health issues. He is the total opposite. He doesn't really have a whole lot of problems there, but he is very understanding, very supportive, and he kind of balances me out. So when he's away, it's definitely difficult to deal with. This was the first time he's been deployed since we were dating years ago. I mean, he's gone away for like training and stuff, but this was my first time really being alone, completely alone, because I don't really have anybody here. I mean, I have one local friend, and I was able to see her, but it's hard because of the pandemic, so I wasn't able to see her a lot. And so I don't have any family here. My family's all on the East Coast. So the being alone part was not easy. But I think I handled it better than even I thought I would.
How so?
Well, honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of independence before. I had only just gotten my driver's license back in March, I think, and I wanted to get it before I turned 27, but also because he was possibly deploying.
Yeah.
And at the time, things were kind of up in the air. Like, we didn't really know whether he was going, whether he wasn't, and they just kept saying, "Hey, it's happening." No, it's not happening. Like, that's just kind of the nature of the military, I guess. And so the stress of that was definitely difficult to deal with for both of us because, he had to worry about possibly getting ready, making sure everything's packed and, work stuff is taken care of. And for me, I had to mentally prepare over and over and over again because, when they said it wasn't happening, I was like, oh, okay, cool, relief. When I said it was happening again, it's like, okay, I have to mentally prepare again. And that's not a very easy thing to do, especially for something like that. And so I got my license, which was difficult because for years, I had panic attacks behind the wheel and I couldn't drive. So that was a giant accomplishment for me. And I think the confidence that I gained from that helped kind of segue me into being by myself because I had my license. I could go anywhere. And the kicker actually is that once I actually got my license, everything started shutting down, so I couldn't go anywhere anyway.
Yeah, sweet irony.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was able to deal with being by myself. I have 2 animals. I have a dog and a cat. And my dog is very needy, so having to take care of him was definitely something that helped, having some sort of routine structure. Like I get up, I take him outside, he eats, stuff like that.
Right.
So if I didn't have my dog, I'm pretty sure it would have been more difficult to be alone. I also ended up meeting and growing very close to several people online, other artists. And so I talk to them basically every day. Being social like that isn't something that I'm used to either, but they definitely helped, keep me busy, keep me distracted. Distraction was a very giant part of my goal while he was away, on top of, working on myself. I lost like 21 pounds while he was gone. So I had stuff to work on, stuff to distract me, and that helped too. For him, he didn't have a whole lot of time really to worry about like how I was doing all the time. And I wanted to like reassure him too, like I'm okay. Like I'm doing fine. I would let him know too, like I'm okay, the animals are okay, we're all good here. And if I'd have a bad day, I would tell him about it. I'd tell my mom, one of my friends. But thankfully those bad days didn't happen a whole lot.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think his biggest issue while he was over there was he was stressed out because he was bored. Like there was a lot he wasn't doing because he was technically on call.
Sure.
So, every day, 12 hours a day, he was basically doing nothing. And that definitely stresses him out because he needs to have his brain stimulated in some way. Like he needs to be thinking or doing something. And so when that wasn't happening, he was stressed out, and that kind of caused some communication issues for us, which we were able to work out. But yeah, communication was definitely difficult with him over there because most of it was text based.
Okay. Yeah.
So, miscommunication over text, that's very easy to do.
Yeah, totally.
So we had a couple of really stupid and unnecessary arguments as a result of miscommunication over text, but we learned from that, thankfully, and we were able to push past it.
Good.
But I think those are the worst things that happen, really.
Well, I mean, it sounds like there's a couple of things that come to mind as you talk about your experience when he's away. First of all, congrats on getting your license. Like that is a big step, and I think it's a wonderful symbolic step in your independence as a person too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
You mentioned before that you felt like, I don't know, reliant upon, him or whatever. Like, and I think that that's a big step. And I think that's also, I think, for me, independence and figuring out like, okay, what is working in my mental health, what is not, like those things were, I mean, obviously we need support systems, but the independence piece is a necessary step in the process, right? Because we do get so, before we even realize it, we get so like rooted in our identity or our systems, right? Our relationships. And if we're not sort of doing the work of the independent piece of it, we can lose ourselves, or we lose parts of ourselves that we need to still explore,
Agreed.
Yeah, no, that's great. It can't be easy. And I'm grateful that he is back. Another thing that you mentioned that I think is important to talk about is distraction. Like when you said that, I immediately, like, I relate to it. And I think a lot of us can relate to the distraction of like, okay, how am I going to get through this? Let's just distract myself. Like, cause it's exhausting to day in, day out, hour by hour, like do whatever work we need to do on our mental health or whatever. Like sometimes we do need distractions, and that is important. I do wonder how is the next time going to be for you? Like the next time he has to go away, like how will it be different?
Well, I think because of this experience, I will have a much better idea of the emotional roller coaster that I'll go through. Because it's actually a very common deployment emotional cycle, at least for the family members left at home. Basically, lots of anticipation, anxiety, and you get to a point where you just, you want him to just go because that way it'll be over with,
Yeah.
Like you want to spend time with him, but you also just want it to be over and kind of try to start moving on. And so like, it's really conflicting to feel that because like I didn't want him to leave. At the same time, it's like, can you just go so I can start dealing with this.
Yeah, it's like an anticipatory anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
And so and then like the weeks after, there's a lot of sadness and loneliness. So I'd find myself just randomly start crying. Um, and
like after he got back?
No, after he left.
After he left.
After he left,
yeah.
I was just like, there would be just random moments where I'd feel really, really sad and just really miss him like crazy.
Yeah.
And then it got easier around like week 5 or 6. Around then I was, more into my own routine. I had, stuff I was actively working on. And having that kind of thing to keep me busy definitely helped, because like the first month it was just, I was trying not to, but I was definitely dwelling on the fact that I was alone. Like I was without him, I was without my parents, I was without my a lot of my friends online who I honestly can't even describe how grateful I am to them for being able to, help me through this whole thing. But like the first month, it was just a very negative feeling. And then around month 2, you learn to get used to the new normal. Like you're alone, but you have other stuff going on. You don't have to worry so much about that other person that is in your life. So you learn to buy groceries for yourself, which I had never done before. And it's definitely a different experience, but it's something that you're used to by then. And so then, whenever you find out they're going to be coming back, you will hear either from them, like they'll hint at something, or you'll get an email from whoever is supposed to, let you know what's going on. And then it's like, oh my God, he's coming back. And then you start having this crazy anxiety about him coming back. And, all the stuff that you wanted to work on, was it, did you get to the point you wanted to get to with what you were working on when he was away? Is the house clean? Do you have an outfit? Like, just all kinds of stuff that runs through your head, but you don't really know when it's happening. So you'll spend several weeks trying to, calm that excitement and, well, I guess anxious excitement. Because like you want them back, but you're nervous about them being back. So it like you'll have to get into a whole new normal when they're back, and that transition can be difficult too for some people. But this whole emotional roller coaster is apparently very common, which I wasn't aware of beforehand. But I think now that I know what I'll experience the next time, it will be a lot easier. I'll still probably rely on, my friends or distraction, really. But at least I'll know what I'm getting into, because the first time he was deployed, we were just dating. I was still living with my parents. Like it wasn't the same experience at all. So I think, now that I have this this experience, it's definitely going to be easier to deal with the next time, I think.
Yeah, that's good to hear. A couple of things, Jordin. I think it's important to recognize that just the power of community, right? Like you mentioned, finding, feeling a little less alone and connection in, your art community, right? And
yeah.
I just want to remind the listeners of that, remind you of that, Jordin, that like we may be alone from like, the people we love most in the world, like your husband, or if my wife goes away, like, yeah, it sucks. It does suck. It will not suck.
Yeah.
But we can lessen the suck, I think, through those connections, and we can feel a little less alone through communities, right? Through, online communities, in-person communities, that sort of thing. And I like that is a thing that I'm learning in my, like, I just turned 39, and I'm still learning. Will always learn. Specifically this idea that like we can't get all of the things we need from our partner in life.
Yeah.
Like we're going to need to rely on other people. We're going to need to get certain things from other people, and that's okay. And I think that's like a beautiful way to look at the world sometimes, is because we all have something to offer each other, and that offering is sometimes a thing we need, right?
Yes, absolutely. I actually didn't think about this at all until earlier this year when I mentioned that I was afraid of being alone to my psychiatrist. And she said, "Well, um, you don't need to have everything in one person. Like your husband might be leaving, and my local friend was actually potentially leaving too. She ended up staying, but that was another stressor too. Like I was worried I'd be completely alone even without her. And so my psychiatrist told me that I can find different qualities in different people that are things that I need. So, for instance, my friend Kelsey, the local friend, she's pretty creative as a person, very very smart. She's not an artist though, and I had never really had artist friends before until I found this community and gotten really close to a couple of people, and being able to like pass back and forth like art knowledge and art jokes that nobody else would get but us. And that's the kind of thing I don't really share with my husband either. So it is really nice to have other other things that I need, with other people. And it's a nice thing to realize that you don't need everything in this one person, because I mean that's not going to happen. You're going to end up, unsatisfied if that's really um, the mindset that you have to that you have, really, like believing that everything is going to be in one person, and that's not how it works. And I didn't really believe that. I just never thought about the fact that I can get all these other things from different people.
Yeah. No,
And it's
that's so
great.
beautiful. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. And like I think about it in the way of, our evolutionary sort of biology, right? You think about how early communities gathered, and everyone relied on each other, right? And people served various roles, and like families were very enmeshed, right? And this monogamous, I'm not like, this isn't a sort of a criticism of like marriage, but I do think that there is culturally, at least here in America, a overemphasis on like sort of marriage and the sort of what marriage means. And I do think that a commitment to a relationship is important, but I do think sometimes it comes as a cost to the stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The other thing I thought about when you were talking, Jordin, is this idea of presence. Like you mentioned, like the anticipation, right? And like the anticipation before he leaves, the anticipation before he comes back, like all of that. And I so feel that in my bones, and I know that feeling very well. I wonder for you, have you thought about, practicing more mindfulness, thinking about trying to like be here now? Like I'm here with my husband now. He doesn't leave for 5 days. Let's be here now, enjoy each other now. Like I know that's a simplification, but it's a powerful one.
I agree. Yeah, it is something that I definitely tried doing. And I was able to do it at times too. I was able to just like be in the moment. But I think maybe because of my anxiety, I couldn't get the whole he's leaving soon thing out of my head. And it definitely impacted my mood. And I think I honestly do have to practice more mindfulness. I need to start like meditating more and everything. But it can be difficult just because if I know there's some, for lack of a better phrase, impending doom, my brain will just fixate on it.
Yep.
And it'll be very hard to just be in the moment.
Yeah. No, I only bring that up because I relate so deeply. Like that's a fucking hard thing to do. It's hard. It's hard. And I suck at being here now, even though in moments I can be great at it, but it's like anything, it takes practice. And I just think it's like, I bring it up as a reminder for me and from the listeners, hopefully, that like, it is a wonderful tool that can allow us to just get out of our heads for a moment and stop the future tripping that we do as humans.
Yeah.
So a question I like to ask guests rather, of the podcast is, Jordin, can you give me a seminal moment or two from your life? It could be from childhood or young adulthood, or just a moment or two that kind of sticks out in your noggin as being kind of an important part of who you are now and your mental health journey that you want to share.
Okay, well, there is one, and it's not easy to talk about, but I'll try to get through it, really. So a few years back, I was not on medication. I had actually been under the impression that I either no longer had bipolar disorder or it was dormant, because I had a pregnancy scare a couple of years before this incident, and so because of that, I was taken off my medication at the time, and I didn't feel anything bad. Like at the time, I wasn't as nearly as aware of what happens with my mind with this illness, and so I knew how it felt for the most part, and I wasn't having any of those symptoms. So I saw a doctor who told me that chances are, because of the very aggressive medication schedule I was on growing up from like age 7, I was on all kinds of crazy medications that did not help. But I mean, I was just on so many of them, and so many harsh ones too, that young children should not be on. And, she thought that it's possible that the medication that I was on for so long, and all the experiments that were, done really with my meds, that could have possibly corrected the chemicals in my brain. Either that or it was just dormant. And so I didn't need to be on meds at the time. Fast forward, my cousin ended up being hit by a car and killed, which I did not handle that well at all. And about a year later, my grandmother died. And because of my relationship with her at the time, it was confusing. She and I were basically in a fight, really. And I tried to feel like indifferent about it. I tried to just pretend I didn't care. And that didn't work, because a month later I was sitting on a beach waiting for the sun to set so I could walk into the water and drown. I was like actively wanting to die. And I wanted to die in one of the ways that I find most terrifying, drowning, because I felt like I deserved it. Like I felt like my anger toward my grandmother was just enough that I should be punished in a way, because I ended up like finding out that like the reason I was angry with her was because she had withheld who my mom's biological father was for most of her life. And it made me so angry. I was baffled that she could keep such a secret for so long. And like I knew that she knew I was mad. I didn't tell her I was mad, but like she knows, or she knew that kind of thing. Yeah. And she was mad at me because I was mad at her. And we were just in this really uncomfortable place, which we had never really been in before. Like, I'd never had that kind of anger toward my grandmother. I loved my grandmother. And it was the first year she didn't call me on my birthday. And that was also the year that she died. So there was a lot of guilt and a lot of, how could I be angry with her? She was actually right all along. Like, it actually turned out that the reason she withheld who my mom's biological father was because he was a dick.
Yeah.
Like, he was not a good person, but like, we didn't know him. So, we thought everything was cool. Like, we had this new side of the family. Like, I had more aunts and uncles and cousins, and it was just this whole world I wasn't used to, this whole world my mom wasn't used to. And it was nice having more people. Like, our family was small and fucked up, and then we were introduced to this whole new side of the family that seemed so normal, but they weren't. They were actually not great people. And my grandmother withholding this information was her way of trying to protect us, and I didn't find that out until it was too late. And so there was just so much guilt, and so I wanted to die, and I ended up chickening out, really. But I mean, that's not the right phrase to use, because I mean, it's a good thing that I didn't go through with it. But nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody until 2 or 3 months afterward. And so 2 or 3 months after this suicide attempt happened, I was 100% convinced that I wanted to leave my husband. I thought that I wanted to like leave him and be with this guy that I didn't even really know anymore, like some dude from my past who was not important and not worth jeopardizing my marriage. But I had no idea how manic I was. My grandmother's death triggered my bipolar disorder again, and it was wide awake, and I had no idea. So for several months, I was just spiraling downward into this horrible fake reality. And I was so convinced I wanted to leave him. And I ended up telling him, and I saw a look on his face, and he was devastated. And then it hit me about 30 minutes to an hour later. I had this crazy moment of clarity. And that's what happens after you come out of a manic episode. There's this giant cloud that's lifted, and it's like you'll never feel more clear-headed than you will in your entire life when you're coming out of a manic episode. So everything was just so crystal clear. Like, there was no fog, nothing. And I realized how detached from reality I was. Like, I didn't want to leave my husband. I didn't want to be with this, dude who lived 4,000 miles away and I didn't really know him anymore. I didn't want any of that. And when I realized I had just come out of a manic episode, I was losing my mind. I could not believe that I had gone so long in this episode and not even picked up on it. But I mean, that's normal for somebody with bipolar disorder, especially someone with such a severe case of it that I have. And you won't know that you're in it until it's over. And I somehow managed to fix things with my husband. I told him immediately, I will go see doctors again. I will be put back on meds because clearly I need them. The next day, I was making phone calls to therapists and psychiatrists in the area. And that was the moment where I realized I needed to get control over this. I needed to become much more knowledgeable about my mental health. I needed to know more about bipolar disorder, how it works, how it can affect me, things to look out for in case I do end up manic. Because if I'm depressed, like I know when I'm depressed. If I'm manic, I have absolutely no fucking idea. So I needed to know how to be able to pick up on that and how to teach my husband how to pick up on that too. Because if there's something that I can't pick up on, he'll be able to notice because he's on the outside. And so, like, if I'm not sleeping or if I am stuttering all the time, because my stutter gets worse when I'm manic, if I have these crazy bursts of creative energy, stuff like that, like if I don't notice it, he will. And so, like, we'll be able to basically work together on figuring out if, I need a change in medication, or if it's just like a mild manic episode that'll blow over. And I think that was definitely the catalyst into how um, how I view my mental health. And like before, it was kind of like, ignorance is bliss kind of thing. Like growing up, I knew that I had this horrible mental illness, but I didn't really understand it. I didn't know jack shit about it. I just knew I needed to be on meds. And then at some point, I didn't need to be on meds. And then the worst happened. Like I almost ruined my life. I almost ruined my husband's life.
Right.
And he was, again, very understanding, very supportive, and he knew that it wasn't me wanting to leave in a way. And I never want that kind of thing to happen again. And so because of that, I bust my ass to make sure that I am relatively stable. I know I can't be, 100% stable all the time, but I work very hard to make sure that I am, seeing my doctors and making sure my meds are good. But it's also gotten to the point where I fear mania, even a little bit of mania. Like it's something that scares me, and it's gotten to the point where like I'm afraid to feel happy because I worry, okay, is this mania? So that's actually what my current problem is at the moment. But I'd rather fear that than have absolutely no idea when it'll hit me, what it'll do to me, or how it works. And so that whole thing is definitely a giant moment that helped me get to where I am today.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing that. Mm-hmm. A couple of things. I just wanted to say to you, Jordin, that, it's, well, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss of your cousin and your grandmother.
Thank you.
That's difficult. And also, it's not your fault. And I know that's hard to hear sometimes. Mm-hmm. I understand the guilt, but those were valid emotions you were experiencing, right?
Yeah.
And you were unmedicated. You were not dealing with your mental illness, and when we don't do that, like things can go weird ways, mm-hmm. understandably. So, I just wanted to give you that grace and say that it's not your fault. You were experiencing valid emotions, and I'm also very grateful you're here.
Oh yeah, me too.
talking to me, and and also have this great relationship with your husband where you two can talk about these things, and he can mm-hmm. pick up on times when you may be not picking up on when you're having a manic episode. Like that is so crucial.
Yeah. And it's something that I also worried about, while he was deployed, like, will I be able to pick up on stuff like this on my own? But thankfully, no crazy manic shit happened. So, yeah.
Do you have regular, check-ins with your psychiatrist, things like that?
Oh, yeah. I talk to her at least once a month, especially, now that I'm on new meds. I've been on new meds since like April. Mm-hmm. So if we don't talk every month, it's like every 2 to 3 weeks. And I still am able to see my therapist from several years ago when I was first looking for a therapist. I ended up meeting her initially in Hawaii because my husband was stationed there, so that's where we lived. And thanks to like insurance stuff changing, I'm still able to have like telehealth sessions with her every week.
Oh, good.
So it's been really nice to be able to keep the same therapist for so long because she knows all my history and everything.
Yeah.
So.
And what, from, the moment you are now to like the time where you almost walked into the ocean, mm-hmm. what have you learned about yourself and bipolar disorder and all that stuff?
Well, growing up, I always heard, at least my mom described my particular type of bipolar disorder as ultra rapid cycling. Turns out there is um, a type of bipolar disorder that's like that, but it's not common at all. It's ultradian cycler, and it means that I can have mood swings very rapidly. Most people with bipolar disorder have mood swings like that maybe twice to three times a year. Mine can happen that quickly in a matter of minutes. And if I'm not on meds, then it can be so much worse than it is at the moment. Like on medication, it can still happen. I can still have mood swings, but it won't be nearly as bad as it would be if I wasn't on meds. And growing up, because bipolar disorder is a lot more erratic in children, it was just nonstop insanity for me. Like I was always having these crazy, rush of different feelings, and I had absolutely no idea how to handle it because I was, 8, 9 years old. I didn't know what the hell it was. I just knew that like I wanted to die a lot, and there was just so much confusion in my head, and I wanted it to stop. And I was like in and out of hospitals all the time, and I guess because of those experiences, dealing with bipolar disorder as an adult, I didn't really know what to expect. And so after this incident, I ended up doing a lot of research. I looked into ultradian cycling, the fact that it's very uncommon, actually, and how one can, try to deal with it. I looked into like what happens in your mind when you're having some sort of depressive or manic episode. Apparently, having episodes like this can cause uh, brain damage. Like you can lose memory. And I've noticed that my memory has like declined over the years, and that's probably a result of all these crazy ass mood swings. Um, and so I looked into like how this can happen, how the chemicals in your brain can just cause this to happen. It's not my fault, I don't want my emotions to go up and down the way they can. And so because I did like extensive research, I also like changed my lifestyle. I started exercising a lot more. I started eating better. And that also helped a lot with managing my mood, because if I was exercising, that helped with depression. It could also help with my like manic symptoms because I was expending energy. With eating better, I was eating more protein, less sugar, trying to work on eating like better carbohydrates, trying to add more veggies because I absolutely fucking hated veggies at the time. So that was difficult to do because I'm fine with them now, but at the time I was basically a toddler. And so making all these changes, being hyper aware of what's happening with my moods, it I definitely learned a lot. I just so much stuff that I honestly wish I had known beforehand, because hopefully I could have prevented that whole thing. But I think that's what needed to happen. I think I needed to have such a giant manic episode for me to really stop and think, holy shit, this is bad.
Yeah.
I need to control this, or I could end up dead. I could end up divorced. Like I can't imagine life without my husband. He is definitely 100% my rock. And there is no way in my right mind I would ever want to be apart from him. So like just it was such a giant wake up call. And I'm honestly glad that I know what I know now.
Yeah. I'm glad too. When did, like, I'm curious, when did you first become aware of the fact that like, okay, something is off here? Something, maybe I'm having these weird thoughts, and then when did you maybe voice them to your mom or your family?
Like when I was first diagnosed?
Yeah,
Or
I guess like you talked about like when you were, a kid and, having thoughts of like, I want to die, or like, what are these weird thoughts? Like,
it
I,
wasn't, sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah.
It wasn't uh, something that I could articulate because at the time I was 7.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I was able to actually, describe how I felt. And actually, what happened was I ended up having this severe leg pain. I don't know what caused it. I didn't do anything to hurt it. Like, I don't know. Like, it wasn't an injury. It was just this insane pain in my leg, and it wouldn't go away. I was crying, and my mom took me to the ER. And so after we got to the ER, I had gotten into a room and the pain went away, and I felt bad that I had kind of like caused all this, you know, um, hype, I guess. And and then the pain went away, and I don't remember exactly how this happened, but I ended up having uh, a very strong, very severe mood swing in front of the doctor. And in front of my mom. Like, my mom hadn't seen me act that way before. She was absolutely baffled. The doctor ended up having the, I guess, on-call psychiatrist come in, and uh, it was. I remember him asking questions, um, and me saying things that like didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, I was like talking about how I wanted my grandfather to drive off a cliff or something. Now, I had no problem with my grandfather. I loved my grandfather.
Hmm.
He wasn't my biological grandfather, but he was, a great man. And I really don't know what was going through my head at the time. I really can't remember, but I do remember saying stuff that was just not normal for a 7-year-old to say.
Yeah.
And from there, it just kind of escalated. I think I ended up getting worse for sure. I don't remember when exactly I was diagnosed, but I do know I was 7 years old. Um, I don't know who diagnosed me, um, but I ended up having to take Prozac was the first medication they put me on. A 7-year-old Prozac, and I couldn't swallow pills, so I was on like the liquid version, and oh god, it was disgusting. I
Mm.
remember how fucking gross it was. And there
I
are
mean,
times
kids'
when like
medication needs to taste like bubble gum. Don't they know
right?
that?
Yeah, exactly. And I can remember how gross it was so much that if I taste something even remotely similar, in my head it's like, "Oh, that tastes like liquid Prozac."
Oh, wow.
So it was absolutely disgusting, and because of that, I didn't wanna take it. Like, my mom I had to fight with my mom so much because I did not wanna take this medication. It just tasted awful. And, because of that, it was difficult for the meds to work even if they could have worked, just because, like, I wasn't taking it regularly. Um, I'm pretty sure my mom had to bribe me a few times to take it, and, because of, well, 1, how strong it was for, a child, and 2, the fact that I wasn't taking it as I should have, um, I don't think it worked, and then it was just like a cocktail of meds, so much, like, so many different ones that I can't even list all of them. My mom can't list all of them because I had to come up with a list of like previous meds that I was on from my current psychiatrist because she wanted me to do this DNA test to figure out what meds would work best with my DNA. And so she needed a list of all the previous meds that I'd been on. And I asked my mom, like, "Hey, how many meds were I on, and what were they?" And she couldn't list them all. So it was a lot of crazy ass medication management. And so I think because of the very strong meds, I think those definitely boosted my desire to die,
Hmm.
or not even just die, but like not want to. I mean, at the time I was young, I didn't really understand what death was. I just knew that I wanted the chaos in my mind to stop, and I
Yeah.
felt like that was the only way.
Yeah.
And so I think that was definitely a the meds were a big reason why I wanted to die because half of them caused suicidal thoughts in patients under the age of 18.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't think I was able to really articulate uh, the bipolar disorder, but it definitely just it was like a switch was flipped. It was just, there out of nowhere, and it was very strong and crazy, and um it snowballed. It just got worse from there. But my mom was able to do her own research. Like, she probably knew more about bipolar disorder than most of my psychiatrists did, because she just she was lost in internet articles and books and trying to do whatever she could to keep me alive. And that
Mm.
involved, extensive research. And she would try to like teach me that growing up too. And I mean, as a teenager, I was like, whatever, like, like I just didn't care.
Shut up, Mom.
Basically,
You're
yeah,
trying to save my life, but shut up.
exactly.
That's how
Like,
teenagers are.
yeah, yeah, and so I really didn't have a care to learn, but I think because of her knowledge, um, it was definitely a contributing factor to why I'm currently breathing. um, and yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to tell her what I was feeling half the time, but I think she knew. I think she was just able to notice the signs.
Mm.
Really.
I mean, your mom sounds like a tremendous support. How does that feel, like looking back and knowing that, she was integral in your life being saved, right?
Um. Well, I don't think the word gratitude really can sum it all up. Like,
Right.
she, oh man. I honestly don't know where I'd be, if I'd even be alive, if it wasn't for her um, insatiable need to learn about what was wrong with me. Um, I think that her knowledge alone definitely helped keep me alive, but her will to do so was just so strong, and it definitely makes me feel loved,
Mm.
beyond loved. Like, I know there is. I'm not a parent. I will never be a parent, but I I know that a mother's love is strong. This is just such a giant, perfect example of that, of a mother's love can be so strong that she would, you know, lose herself in information just to keep her kid alive.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very grateful to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that, and
Mhm.
it's so powerful, and I'm so, I do think that, um, it takes a lot of effort to do that. Like, it takes a lot of, um, intentional choices to present that kind of love and to give that kind of love to anyone.
Mhm.
And I just shout out to your mom for being for being that for you. It's like I'm so happy
Yeah.
that you had that.
And she was doing all that with a toddler. Like, my sister
Oh
was
my God.
2 or 3 at the time, so uh, she she's a fucking superhero, really.
Mhm. Are you do you talk to your mom regularly?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice. And
Mhm.
she lives on the East Coast?
Mhm. Massachusetts. Yep.
Got it. And is Massachusetts where you grew up?
No, I kind of grew up all over the East Coast, but Massachusetts is basically home for me. We ended up moving there when I was 16. Um, we had to flee North Carolina because my mom's ex husband was very abusive, and it was getting to a point where she was worried that his next step basically was gonna, like, he was gonna kill us.
Mm.
So we had to literally run from him. And So we ended up in Massachusetts, and she was dating this guy named Lou, who was her current husband, and he's probably the best father figure I've ever had. He's definitely like my dad in every way that it matters. And so, because I ended up basically like reclaiming some of my childhood while in Massachusetts. That's home now. Like I associate Massachusetts with positive, things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't grow up there. I was actually born in an army base in Germany.
Okay.
Most of my family's in New Jersey, but Massachusetts is 100% home. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I love that. I love the intentional sort of self affirming choice to say, these are where the positive memories happened and started,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and like I think that's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one, sort of the first aspects I learned about you, Jordin, was you're an artist, like,
Yes.
and you do. Tell me about the art you do, and I'm also curious about how, if at all, your art sort of plays into your mental health.
Oh, it definitely started out that way. So when I started drawing, it was around the time I was diagnosed, I think. And what actually like kicked it off was my mom and my her ex-husband. They had gone to some like New Year's Eve party or something. I don't remember, but I had a babysitter, and her name was Jen. She was 16, and she brought her sketchbook, her little notebook of poetry, and how to draw manga book. And I was like completely engrossed in her drawings and the poems that she had written and the how to draw book that she had. And since then I've been hooked since then. And I really wish I was able to like contact her in some way. I don't know her last name. I don't know where she ended up or even if she's still alive, but she is the reason this whole thing started for me.
Wow.
And I ended up continuing to draw. Like I think she only babysat me like once or twice, and so it just snowballed. Like I wanted to learn more about this particular style of art, manga, anime, what have you, and it definitely acted as a coping mechanism growing up because I there was just so much I didn't understand, but I would draw hours upon hours every single day, and that kept my mind busy and off of the bullshit movie reel going on in my head. um, and that 100% played a role in my mental health growing up. And actually it's gotten to a point now where my mental health is much more stable, that I no longer use art as a coping mechanism. I use it as it's my job. Like I use it to make money. I can draw for pleasure. I can draw for other people, even when I am really like in a bad place, depressed. I don't even like need to draw that out. So I'm actually really glad I've gotten to that point where I don't need to use it as a crutch anymore. Um, I ended up for about 6 years. I think from like 2013 to 2019. Yeah, I was drawing erotic art, erotic manga, hentai. That's the proper term for it. And I, as you can imagine, grew a very quick, large following, made a pretty decent amount of money, but it wasn't very good for my mental health to constantly have to draw like erotic stuff.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who is susceptible to mania, because the whole like hypersexuality thing
Sure.
with mania. And I also got a lot of harassment because people found out that I was a female hentai artist, and comments went from "Oh wow, that looks really good" to send me nudes. Really, it was
I'm
just
sorry.
awful. I ended up getting a lot of dick pics in my email, work email, and a
Dudes
couple
are the
of.
worst.
I know.
What
Oh
the fuck?
God. It was. I don't understand the line of thinking there at all. But
I don't think there is any thinking. I think it's this. It's a lack of boundaries. It's a lack of
yeah.
sort of thinking about how it would impact you. It's
Mhm.
yeah.
Or that
It's
I'd want to see it to begin with. And I also get like a lot of
100%.
questions like, they'd ask me, "Oh, so do you like touch yourself while you draw?" I'm like, "No, dude. Half the time I'm frustrated because I can't get this fucking penis to look right. Like, like I'd get mad because I couldn't get it to look right. But on top of all that, I also got a couple of pretty graphic threats, and so I ended up dropping it, but also partially because I wanted to branch out. I wanted to learn more. I was so stuck in, drawing the typical, erotic poses and stuff. And I wanted to learn, how to draw scenery, how to paint, how to create very, colorful and vivid pieces. And I couldn't do that if I'm stuck drawing erotic shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I could just branch out while still doing erotic art because my audience expected erotic art. I couldn't just throw a painting of a pond at them like, hey, look, and it's like it wouldn't nearly be as exciting as seeing
there is a penis in there if you look closely. Yeah.
Yeah, look in the clouds. But yeah, so I ended up completely dropping it early last year, and I'm so glad I did because there's so much I've learned. I'm finally able to draw normal, clean poses, and I love that. I love being able to draw clean artwork. I still do some pinup stuff here and there, but for the most part, it's very what's the word for it? Not relaxing, but like I don't know. I can't even describe the emotion. Maybe, yeah. It's nice being able to do more, and I've definitely grown as an artist as a result. I did lose money and followers, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care. Like I'm in a very good place with my art right now, and I'm grateful for the experience that I had. I mean, I still do some, erotic stuff here and there under a different name, but it's not the main focus. Like I don't keep up with it as much as I do my normal art name. So it definitely played a role.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like you're making some self-honoring choices. You realize like, okay, this is maybe not the territory I want to focus on. It's, impacting my mental health in a negative way. Let's take a step back and try something else. It's also, as you said, like it's not challenging your artistic capabilities, right? Mm-hmm. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed the challenge, and I've grown so much because of it. I'm so glad I ended up, making that choice.
It's such a good analogy for mental health, right? Like in our mental health, we need to challenge ourselves. We need to like learn and enrich ourselves through different perspectives and things like that. And when we're stuck in our thing, we can go to dark places.
Yeah.
When we keep playing that one thing over and over again, it can lead to some not good stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So what, like, if the listeners want to like see your artwork, like where do they go?
I'm mostly active on Instagram. I do have a Facebook page, but I never use it, and my Facebook is currently deactivated because mental health and Facebook sucks. So my Instagram is it's One-Eyed Neko, but there's a 3 in there. ONE3 YEDNEKO on Instagram, but everywhere else it's ONEEYEDNEKO. One-Eyed Neko.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So let's wrap up with empathy heroes. We always kind of wrap up the show talking about empathy heroes, people in our lives who are very empathetic. It could be even characters from movies or novels, things like that. I will go first and name my empathy hero this week. My empathy hero this week is childhood version of me.
Awesome.
So I and that's kind of weird to say and maybe hard to say, but I've been doing EMDR and thinking a lot about the childhood version of me and trying to give my childhood self a bit more compassion. And in EMDR, I'm spending a lot of time in, early childhood traumatic memories, but trying to go back and reintegrate those memories in a way that's more balanced and healthy and less, traumatizing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going back to these memories and allowing my current self, my present self, to just kind of give that person kindness, and also remind him, and me specifically when I was a kid, remind him that, like, man, your heart is big and that's fucking cool. That's awesome. And it will serve you. It's hard right now, but it will serve you. And so I'm trying to give myself that kindness. And I think I was and am a very empathetic person. And I'm proud of that. I'm not going to bristle when I say I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And it's hard for me to say that and give myself that kindness sometimes, but I'm working on it. And so childhood me is my empathy hero.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you. How about you?
My friend Tiki, her name is Martinique, but we call her Tiki. She is also a fellow artist. And the entire deployment, she was just always there, no matter what time. She has like a 1-year-old too. So the fact that she was always there for me, even if I needed to talk in the middle of the night, if I was having some sort of panic attack, like she was there every single time without fail. And she was
your tiki torch in the darkness.
Exactly. Yes. She is incredible. She's become one of my best friends. And I can't quite sum up how grateful I am that she was and is just always supportive, always giving me the benefit of the doubt. She called me last night twice because I got her into my favorite novels, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and she got to the end of the second book and she was very upset. So, I gave her that, emotional support because, she needed it. And I love that both of us can be emotional support heroes for the other. So definitely Tiki. She's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tiki sounds amazing.
She is awesome.
What a great friend to have. What are these books? What did you say again?
A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, Maas. She is a fantastic writer. Oh my God.
Is it fantasy?
Yes. Okay. It's like non-traditional fantasy. Very outside the box. It focuses on fairies, but not like the stereotypical Tinkerbell fairies. Like they are human sized but very powerful. And it's just an incredible story, A Court of Thorns and Roses. It follows the main character named Feyre, who has a lot of mental illness issues throughout the series, and she's able to deal with them in a way that is very relatable to people like me, to people like Tiki, like people who understand like what it is to feel PTSD, depression, guilt. And it's just such a relatable series. And the author actually put out a new book, Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, which is kind of in the same universe, I think, anyway. And that one focuses on grief, which, especially for me, losing my cousin, losing my grandmother in such a short amount of time, I heavily relate to that. So my emotional tie to it is very, very strong. And so she's just able to write in ways that are you can't not relate. I think that's also what really keeps you reading too. Like you want to know what happens. You want to see the healing process, and there's always a healing process. And I love that. Like there's always the character who is dealing with whatever problem they're dealing with. There's always they find a way out somehow. And I think that's really important for people like us. We will find a way out somehow. Like it might not be in the way we expect. It might not involve the people we think it will involve, but you'll pull yourself out. You'll find a way. Like that's just such a giant, important message, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. They sound amazing. I'm a big fantasy fan myself. I'm surprised I haven't heard of them, but I'm gonna pick them up. And it sounds like I'm gonna try to get that author on the podcast because it seems like she's writing books that connect to people like us. That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be awesome. She's done an interview, I think, recently talking about how she just started therapy and how she was trying to deal with her anxiety and everything. And oh man, I love her so much.
Thank you for that. I'm excited to check out those books.
Yeah.
Jordin, remind listeners again share your Instagram handle again, and I'll make sure listeners that it's linked in the show notes.
Okay, yeah, it's One-Eyed Neko, ONE3 YEDNEKO on Instagram, and One-Eyed Neko, ONEEYEDNEKO, basically everywhere else.
Awesome. Well, Jordin, thank you so much for being a guest on You Me Empathy.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And to you listeners, as I always say, I'm here, you're here, we're here together on this wayward, overwhelming, uninspiring pale blue dot. We have each other. It's You, Me, Empathy.